They fined me $4,200 for parking my camper on my own driveway, while I was overseeing every single state campground in our region. I write the policies. They weaponize them. I moved to Ridge Pine Grove for the peace. I'd spent 14 years building up the state's campground authority, permits, preservation, emergency response, and now, with retirement looming, I wanted one thing: a quiet place to park my camper and breathe. Bought a cozy 2-bedroom on a cul-de-sac. Oversized driveway. Great view of the hills. And yes, my camper, a modest but rugged forest river, fit like a glove. First month, no issue. Second month, a letter from the HOA stuffed in my mailbox like a dead fish. You are in violation of Article 4, Section 12, no campers, trailers, or recreational vehicles shall be parked within public view for over 72 hours. But there was no public street parking. This was my driveway. Private. Gated. I laughed. Mistake number 1. I wrote back politely, including state code that permitted RVs on private property. I attached my own camper zoning certification. Heard nothing for weeks, until I got slapped with a fine. $200. Then $400. By week 6, it totaled $4,200. And they were just getting started. Then came the photos. Grainy, zoomed-in shots of my camper. Some at dawn. Some at night. Taken from the bushes. One even caught me mid-yawn in my bathrobe. They slid them into envelopes like ransom notes. My neighbors began looking at me differently. I'd wave, nothing. The couple across the street stopped coming to my barbecue nights. Then a whisper at the hardware store: he's the reason our property values are tanking. I tracked down a board meeting. It wasn't publicized. The HOA president, Joyce Halderman, refused to let me speak. She cited decorum. I asked for the vote log, denied. Then a board member slipped me a tip: it's not about you. It's about your lot. Knowledge nugget number 1, HOAs can restrict vehicle parking, but only if their bylaws are consistent with municipal zoning and state property rights. If not, they're voidable in court. I started digging. Joyce Halderman had been on the board for 10 years. Ran unopposed. Controlled a beautification fund no one had audited in 6 years. I found out that 2 lots down from mine, her nephew was trying to buy up parcels for a private glamping startup. He'd made offers to 4 other neighbors. All lowball. All just before HOA citations were issued. A pattern was forming. But it wasn't until I got a visit from an old friend, Tarek, a retired city planner, that the final piece dropped. He asked for my land deed. I handed it over. He whistled. "Did you know your property sits on an easement?" he asked. "No. It's a drainage corridor from the pre-development wetlands. If this HOA makes you move your RV, and he builds over it, they'll flood the whole block." The HOA wasn't just pushing me out. They were covering up a land risk. They needed me gone before I connected the dots. I filed a request under the state's Environmental Open Records Act. 3 weeks later, I had the soil studies in hand. That drainage easement? Still active. Covered up by a concrete overlay in 2009. No city inspection followed. Knowledge nugget number 2, if your property contains an easement, active or dormant, it restricts what can be built there, no matter what the HOA says. I drafted a full report. I included photos, engineering annotations, a notarized affidavit from Tarek, and copies of the illegal permit waivers. Then I mailed it, not to the HOA, but to the state EPA. And I posted a stripped-down version to the Ridge Pine Grove Facebook group with one line: "Anyone else get fined for property violations? You might want to read this." The post blew up. I got 17 DMs overnight. 4 other neighbors had campers. One had been fined for hanging a kayak on his fence. One woman got dinged for her toddler's sandbox being unsightly. Every fine traced back to Joyce's board. Then came the part that made my blood run cold. A man named Arthur messaged me. I worked maintenance for Ridgepine in 2018, he wrote. Joyce paid me cash to relocate property markers. I didn't ask questions. Now I wish I had. I called a meeting at my place. 13 neighbors showed up. I laid it all out: easement fraud, zoning violations, Joyce's nephew, everything. They were furious. United. And ready. Screenshot this clause and tag a friend who needs HOA armor. No HOA may override state property rights or environmental easement laws, regardless of community vote. We formed a committee. Pooled money for a real land use attorney. One woman, a retired judge, drafted the cease and desist letter. Another neighbor contacted a local reporter. Meanwhile, I filed for a temporary restraining order against the HOA's enforcement actions citing retaliatory abuse. 2 weeks later, we served them. Joyce snapped. She called an emergency board meeting. Her nephew showed up in a suit. Claimed we were sabotaging community value. I played them a clip from his own podcast, where he bragged about turning sleepy suburbs into eco-resorts. Then the bombshell. The EPA opened an investigation. City zoning declared a 90-day freeze on any new development applications in Ridgepine. Joyce's nephew's company was suddenly under review for fraud. Knowledge nugget number 3. If a development is under environmental review, any associated HOAs cannot alter lot restrictions or issue new citations until the review is closed. The final blow came in court. Our restraining order was granted. The judge cited probable cause of civil conspiracy to defraud homeowners. Joyce's finances were subpoenaed. She broke. Admitted to funneling beautification funds into her nephew's LLC. Over $58,000 in 3 years. No audits. No receipts. The HOA board was dissolved. A court-appointed receiver took over management. My fines? Erased. My camper? Still parked, proudly, in my driveway. The glamping project? Dead in the water. The developer pulled out. Ridgepine Grove wasn't investment ready. We took the settlement money and created a scholarship fund, eco-research grants for local high schoolers. First winner? A kid who lived across from Joyce. He'd been bullied for being that camper boy. Now, the community waves again. My neighbors come over for brisket. The air feels lighter. But Joyce? Last week, I got an envelope. No return address. Inside, just a photo. My camper. Taken from the woods. Same angle. Same bush. And on the back, just one word: move. Next week, the city council that tried to steal a solar farm from its own citizens. Stay tuned.